Hello there, 7th graders. This is Mr. Kashi speaking. As you can see, I will not be able to be at your class today, but I will still go through the lesson here on the board, and I will take any questions you have on this tomorrow. Our schedule for the day is on the board. Attendance should be taken right now, whether the sub has done it or not. We will correct the homework, then 2/6 fractions and decimals. We're spending 2 days on fractions and decimals, and there is an assignment tonight as a book assignment, and hopefully we'll get some assignments passed back as well. So what you need out right now is a notebook and your vocab sheet, and obviously a writing utensil to be writing those things down. I'll give you just a little bit to get those things out, but hopefully they should be out already. You should be getting into a routine that you have those things out before class starts. So, 2/6 fractions and decimals. This is what should be on the top of your notes. Once you have that on the top of your notes, turn to your vocab sheet. We'll be doing 2 terms for 2/6 on your vocab sheet. The first term is terminating decimal. Terminating decimal. It's very simple. The definition of terminating decimal is a decimal that stops. Terminate means to stop. So decimal that stops. And we'll get into some examples here in a minute. The next vocab word is a repeating decimal. Okay, and that's a decimal where the same block of digits repeats without end. Okay, I'm sure most of you have seen what a repeating decimal is and a terminating decimal, but I'm sure you didn't know they were called this. You probably have heard of a repeating decimal, but not a terminating decimal. Okay, it's one or the other. The decimal either stops or a same block of numbers keeps repeating without end. Those are the 2 vocab terms for 2/6. Have that vocab sheet out, and keep it out while we take notes so you can refer back to it when I talk about terminating or repeating decimals. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, just like I would be in class, we're going to go through some of these decimals that are either repeating or terminating. So 0.25, see how it stops? Well, that would be called a terminating decimal. It stops. Alright, now if we go back up here, 0.27, 27, 27, 27, as you can see, this 27 is the block that keeps on repeating. 27 keeps on repeating. Now, it really keeps going, but I didn't want to, we didn't have room for it on the board. So 27 keeps going, so that would be the repeating decimal. And then here, 0.33333333, that is also a repeating decimal. The 3, just the one number, 3, is what's being repeated. 1.25, well, that's very simply it stops. It's a decimal, it stops. It's a terminating decimal. Down here, 1.666666, that is a decimal that keeps going. It's a repeating decimal. It's the 6 that keeps going. Now this one's a little different than the other ones. 0.136136, that is still a repeating decimal, even though it's not the same number. Okay, the group 136, that is what's repeating. 136, 136, 136. So that is a repeating decimal. And then finally down here, 0.125. That is a terminating decimal. It does not keep going. Now, a couple of different ways to write this. Down here, that would be 1.6, and to say that it's repeating, to show that it's repeating, we put a little line over it. Okay. Then up here, we always put a line over what is repeating, the group that's repeating. So 27 is what's repeating, so we have to put a line over that. That's how we would write 0.27 repeating. And same thing up here. 0.136, and we draw a line over all the numbers, the whole group that is repeating. Okay? So those are the differences between a terminating decimal and a repeating decimal. Moving on. This will probably be the majority of our notes right here. We need to take a fraction and turn it into a decimal. And the way we do that is we do it by long division. Okay? So what you need to do is I need you to write 4/25ths on in your notebook. When you are done with that, you need to draw the house. Then we have to put these numbers in the right place. So the number on top, in this case the 4, that goes inside the house. And 25, what's on bottom, that goes on the outside of the house. Now this looks a little different because the larger number is on the outside. But what we do is we just put 0.00, and right away we bring that decimal, we bring it up right there. Okay, so we know exactly where all these numbers go before we even get started. So we take this 25 and say, how many times does 25 go into not 4 but 40? Well, 25 goes into 40 once. We put that 1 right above that 0. 1 times 25 is 25. When we multiply this, or when we subtract this out, 40 minus 25 should give us 15. Then we bring down the 0. Now we say, how many times does 25 go into 150? Well, if I had $1.50, how many quarters would I have? I would have 6 quarters. 6 times 25 comes out to be 150 exactly. 150 minus 150 gives us 0. So our answer would be 0.16. That is our quotient. That is our decimal. So these two equal each other. 4/25 is the same as 0.16. This is the decimal form, 0.16. The fraction form is 4/25. Okay? That's how we go from a fraction to a decimal. I'll give you a little more time to copy that down. Okay. Now, the last one, 0.16, that was a terminating decimal. Now I want to show you a repeating decimal. So 3/11, we're going to be doing the same technique. So we got to draw the house. We've put the number on top. That goes in the house. So 3 goes in the house. 11, that goes outside the house. Then what we need to do is draw our decimal. Put 0, 0. Bring up the decimal. Okay, so now we're all set up. We haven't really done much math. We just have to know that the 3 goes inside, and we're just kind of setting it up. Now this is where the arithmetic falls into play. So 11 goes into 30, goes in there twice. Okay, 2 times 11 is 22. Subtract that out. We get 8. Bring down the 0. Right there. And we say, how many times does 11 go into 88? Or how many times does 11 go into 80? Sorry. 11 goes into 80 7 times. 7 times 11 gives you 77. Minus those, we get 3. Okay? since we do not have a terminating decimal, we bring the 3 down. And then what I would like you to see is that this is exactly where we started. Okay, so we had 30, well 11 goes into 30 twice, minus 22. We're going to be doing that same thing. 11 goes into 30 twice, minus 22. You can see how this right here is the same as what happened up there. And then later on, what we'll be talking about is, well, later on you'll see that, well, you just get 80 minus 77. And it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep going. All right? So when that happens, we can just stop after that second cycle. Usually you want to do 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it's a repeating decimal. But we can just say that it's 0.27 repeating, which is the same as 3/11. 3/11 is the fraction form. 0.27 repeating is the decimal form. All right? I'll give you a little bit longer to record that into your notes. And then we'll move on here. Okay, so how do we write 2 and 5/6 as a decimal? Okay, that should be right there. 2 and 5/6 as a decimal. Well, we already have a whole number, 2, and as you can see in all of our options right here, 2 is the whole number. So that's done with. We know 2 is the whole number. But now we need to know what 5/6 is. Okay, so we gotta draw our house. 5 goes on the inside, 6 goes on the outside. Have to draw our 0, bring up our decimal. Okay, you should do this every time. We have not done any math. It should be rather easy as long as you're not lazy. Okay, 6 on the outside, 5 on the inside, move the decimal up. And we say 6 goes into 50 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. Add a 0, bring it down. We get 20. Next step, 6 goes into 20 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We get 2. Bring down the 0. 6 goes into 20 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We get 2. Then we would be bringing down another 0, but you can see how this is going to keep going. All right? So how we would write this decimal is 0.83, but the 3 is the only one that has the bar over it because it's the 3's that keep repeating. Okay, so make sure that the bar does not go over the 8. Okay, so obviously A and B would not be correct answers. 2.83 for C, 83 returning, that would be fine except that the repeating bar is also over the 8, so our correct answer would be D. 2.83 is the one that is returning. Okay. I'll give you a minute to write that down in your notes as well. Hopefully you've been writing this down all along. And due to time, we got to keep moving here. Okay, so the assignment is page 99, problems 8 through 15 all, 29 through 30. And that will be due at the beginning of class tomorrow. I'll be taking multiple questions on it. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but we will go through any problems that you have questions on tomorrow at the beginning of class. If you need to have this pause so you can write this down, just ask the sub to pause the video to make sure everybody gets the homework assignment. So I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good day and keep your stick on the ice.